So there is a few things that I want to talk about regarding my healing journey. Just getting a diagnosis was a catalyst for change in watching also my anger. Last night I was listening to some music. It sounded like it would be a really good music video in my head. If anybody does that, please let me know. I do that way too often. So last night I listened to a song, like that song, I can feel it coming in the air tonight or something. But it was a slower version I found here on TikTok, and as I said, it looked like a really good music video in my head. I was like, wow, this is a really good song. And I felt like I needed to lay down and meditate to it. And when I did that, basically what happened was I started thinking about how the past, present, and future are all the same. I've been doing a lot of deep thinking and a lot of working on myself. I'm making these so I can look back at my journey. If anybody wants to look at these videos and you get inspired by them, I'm really glad. I'm no spiritual healer. I'm nobody that is anything major. I'm just a person that's literally trying to heal from all the traumas in my life. So I felt like in order for me to heal, as I was thinking of the past, present, and future all in the same time, I was thinking, like, what if intuition and our gut feeling is our future telling us what to do? Like, it could be spirit guides, it could be your deity, it could be anything, but like, what if you looked at yourself in that situation, but you looked at it from third person? If you look at it from third person, honestly, I feel like you will realize a lot of stuff about yourself and to be more kinder to yourself. So what do you do when you go to fix your trauma? You gotta start from the beginning. So that's what I did. The first traumatic thing I went through, I do believe, is the night my father left. I started meditating and I went back. I obviously remember what happened. I don't remember what I look like, but I have seen pictures of myself at that age. Basically what it was my dad. I was watching my dad pack and leave. And I was laying in my bed, which had Sesame Street, ugly Sesame Street blankets and like sheets, I guess. And so I visualized with the music that I was standing there in third person as myself now, and I was just absorbing all the energy in the area of what was happening. I was watching my father pack and leave with this little child, and I could sense that I was whimpering, this little child. And so I crawled behind this little child and I just held her while she was laying there watching her father leave. And I felt so bad for this child. To go through that is the hardest thing I think anybody else can ever go through. And even though I didn't know at the time, obviously me as an adult now, I know what that meant for my future. I know that in that moment as my dad was leaving the room, I felt like I needed to shut my eyes. So in that moment, as me being me, and this little girl is sitting there starting to panic about her like being caught that she was awake, I whispered in her ear, I said, "Shut your eyes," and I held my hand over her eyes. She closed her eyes super easy. And then that was it. That was just me reminding myself why I've been there, and I have maybe that it was me telling them in that moment, in that spiritual journey, that maybe that was me telling myself calmly to shut my eyes. And then I started thinking about my past trauma with my father. In the moment, trigger warning, it is sexual assault, and I don't want it to get taken down. So basically this stuff happened where I was sleeping, and I felt the need to pretend to be asleep. So I was standing in the corner as myself, telling my 7 to 10-year-old self, I can't remember the age. And then I walked over, and I remember in that moment to feel like just to stay asleep so he doesn't know. And then I felt the need to roll over. So I, myself as an adult, was watching him do this to this child, the stuff that was happening. I'm not going to get into detail, but I told that little girl, I said, pretend you were asleep. Roll over. Snore. Everything will be okay. After that happened that night, I did roll over and I did fall asleep, and as far as I'm aware of, nothing bad had happened to me, but I was scared. Then my next trauma was the next following assault, and I went over to go do my math, and then my dad came up behind me and whispered some things into my ear. I visualized myself again in third person and said, just watched it. And then as an adult, I was mad, but I was so protective over this child. And I walked up to her and I said, say no. Say no. And then visualizing my childhood self saying no. And I have no idea how I had that strength at that time to tell him no, to tell your parent no, even when it's something like that, like something bad could have happened. If you guys can do this exercise with yourself and go back to your very first traumas and work your way up through until the point right now, I promise it will make you feel more sympathy and more care for yourself, and just to be more kinder to yourself, because watching a little child go through that and you're just standing there watching that, nobody should go through that. And as a parent who has children, and as a person who's experienced it, you witnessing yourself go through your traumas, but seeing how strong you are, it will change your life. If you guys want to update on like what else I did during this session, I'm gonna write it down in my journal so I don't forget it, and I don't think I'll be able to forget it. But I worked all the way from the first trauma all the way up, and I'm planning on keep on doing it until I forgive it. Like, I personally look at myself in a different perspective. I have a lot of remorse and I have a lot of sympathy for myself. Not sorry for myself, but just how strong, even through all that. And it makes sense that no wonder I went through all of this and ended up at the spot that I'm at. You can heal these wounds, but you have to really try. And I hope you heal yourself too, if you've been through this. And I'm here for you. I love you all, and I'll update like later after my coffee, because it's already been an emotional morning and I'm over it. Bye guys.